got a chance to see Smile 2 with Naomi Scott. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yep, we just got our new Lords of LA issue 2. Here's issue 1, and here's issue 2. So we just got issue 2 in. So yeah, if you'd like one, let me know. I do sign them. It is by Vampire Mob set in 1950s Hollywood, and it's awesome stuff. We have vampire on vampire action. We have all their kinds of monsters. It's pretty cool. So artwork's great, and yeah, if you want one, let me know, because I'm going to be putting my print run in. I was supposed to do it already. I actually put part of it in, and I have not heard back from my printer now because they're in Orlando. I don't know if they shut down for the week, if they had any damage or what, but I guess we'll find out. Plus, we are launched on Kickstarter with Mythlord's Classic Monsters card game with art by Mark Spears. He does cover art from Marvel and DC, amongst others. And you can play as your favorite classic monster just in time for Halloween. Play as Dracula, Frankenstein, etc. It's awesome artwork in here, and you can go to mythlords.net or just go to the description below and get the link. And we are fully funded, so yeah, just come in and sign up for your pre-copy. All right, so let's jump into Smile 2. This is, of course, the sequel to Smile, and Smile 2. And Smile 1 had a production budget of $17 million, which is still pretty high, considering that this director has never directed anything prior. The guy's name is Parker Finn. He is a writer, director, producer on this one, which tends to be a problem, and I'm going to discuss that in a second. But what happened with the original, I don't know how he was able to get that $17 million, especially with not really any names involved. Even Kyle Gallner is having a great year with Strange Darling, and now this, although he's not in this very much, but I can say that he's probably one of the best scenes in the entire film. I don't understand. So he went from $17 million in the first one. It made $217 million. So, of course, they have him to come back for the sequel. But they jumped, this is what I don't understand. They jumped a sequel from $17 million production budget to 70. 70! What? Why? I mean, the only thing, because Naomi Scott, I love Naomi Scott. I think she's great. She is a British actor, I believe. She hasn't really been anything good. Like she was in Charlie's Angels, the very horrible Charlie's Angels movie. And I actually liked Aladdin. She played Jasmine in Aladdin. But Aladdin was panned by everybody. I'm one of the few people that like the thing. And I mostly like it for her. So she is a singer. She has her own music videos and everything. So this is, I don't know if he built this around her, but she is not expensive. Because she's probably looking for something to propel her, because everything that she's done has been panned in America. I don't know about what she's done in England, but everything that she's done here. In fact, she comes out, not physically, but on the screen, and thanks everybody for coming, and she's wearing a jacket that is, or clothes that are far too big for her. I don't understand where that came from. But she's a beautiful woman. She seems like she has a very great personality. I watched some of the behind-the-scenes stuff from Aladdin. So her brother was a big fan of Will Smith, and Will Smith, came up to him and talked to him the whole bit, and he said that he went crazy. So it seems that she has a very close-knit family, and I think that she has huge, huge range. So she played the mousy character in Charlie's Angels. She played the headstrong Jasmine in Aladdin, and now she's playing a bitchy type character. It's almost supposed to be like a Taylor Swift character who is progressively, and this is why I think that she has this range, she was able to sell the fact that the character is progressively losing her mind. and becoming unhinged, but also has the will to continue fighting. So it's a very complex character. So, but she wasn't expensive. I think it was the massive amounts of extras that you had to have with all of these concert scenes. And then they shot in New York. I think it was New York, and because they were walking down the streets, it definitely looked like New York. I can't know that for a fact. I should have watched the credits all the way through to see if they shot New York for Canada for New York. Sometimes they do that. But even so, if they did that, if they shot in Canada for New York, then they had a rebate on top of that. I don't understand for the life of me, I can't tell you what was so expensive. They had Drew Barrymore in there for one scene. I mean, I don't even why they did that unless they were just throwing money around, because she didn't add anything to it. And Kyle Gallner is not expensive. He was just in Strange Darling, and that was a low budget. So I'm really confused about where the $70 million went. The acting is superb. I gotta say that. And I forgot the other girl's name. Is it Rosemary DeWitt? I think she's from the Sparkle Vampire thing, Twilight. So she's really good. She plays the mom. But other than that, there's nobody in here. That's expensive. There's no Robert Downey Jr. making $20 million or $30 million. And this director's made no films. He can't possibly be asking for a lot of money. It's had to be the executives or whatever production company this went through, Paramount. The producers of Paramount have got to be taking the majority of this lion's share. I cannot see where this money went. So here's the problem with having a writer, director, producer. We've seen it many times fail in the past. Hence Wonder Woman 2 and a pile of others, where the director gets a big head and decides that they are not going to listen to anyone. So this movie is far too long. It's over 2 hours long. It's got huge amounts of filler in it. Normally I would get pissed off with people on their phones, as you know, but this movie got so boring for no reason that I didn't even blame the people for getting on their phones. I didn't feel like the first one was boring. I didn't really feel like there was a whole lot of downtime in it. Here there was at least a half hour of downtime where it was almost like the director didn't know what kind of film he wanted to make. Did he want to make a film about a singer, doing their concerts, or was he doing a horror movie? There was just absolutely no reason to go into all the singing and all this stuff with the dancers. We had one scene where the dancers show up other than on the stage, and you know what? All that could have been cut. It wasn't really creepy. It was kind of cringy. It was kind of over the top. So I would have deleted all of that. It just didn't make any sense. So that right there, just those two scenes alone, is probably 10 minutes, at least. So I have a very mixed review here because I love the whole beginning with Kyle Gallner. I thought that was great. That whole setup was great in the beginning about basically taking him out of whatever franchise that we're doing here. So that was great. And the director does have some chops. There was some really nice shots in there. Really nice movement shots where he was able to follow action. He takes it off the character to do whatever they're doing. Then the camera moves back to see if there was somebody standing behind her or whatever else. Some really good stuff in there. But he's got to learn how to cut his baby apart. And this could have been a lot tighter a film and making it way better than the first one. Right now, I don't think it is. I've seen some other reviews already where people saying that it's better than the first one, and it definitely should be because the budget quadrupled. But was it really all on the screen? I don't know. Like the first one was a little bit more contained because it was a smaller budget, where here it's more vast. Great. That doesn't really make the film better. as we can see with Terrifier 3 that did $2 million is up to $25 million now, going on to probably going to go on to 40. So for me, this is a very mixed bag. I love the cast. I thought the acting was phenomenal. I thought some of the gore stuff was pretty good. I thought some of the jump scares were pretty good. But it just breaks down because it gets so boring and it's so bogged down with these other pieces that don't need to be in there. And it's just there for him to be able to do music videos or to do a Taylor Swift type of movie that is totally off kilter of what this should be. It almost feels like he was making two movies. And he faltered with that. And he didn't really take it out of the box at all, because we also don't find out what if Morris was even in her mind the entire time. I guess we go back to the old trope of, yes, I'm only going to kill you, but I'm going to bring you back to life thing. So he didn't really think out of the box too much. It was kind of a rehash of things. I really would have liked to have seen more of the lore. We didn't get into any of the lore here of whatever the demon is or whatever else. We didn't get into it at all. And I think that was a problem because we didn't really progress our knowledge from the first movie to this movie, which is even when they did that with Terrifier, they progressed a lot of the lore. And so I don't think the script was that great. I think the acting and the budget propelled this movie to above the first one, but that's my only note on that. So is it worth seeing? If you like the first one, you will like many parts of this one. If you didn't like the first one, you might still like this one better. But it's not going to make you a fan of the series. So unfortunately, I was expecting more. So for me, the acting propelled it, but the script and the edit downgraded it. So I'm going to call this a 6 out of 10. That's the best I can do it. And unfortunately, hopefully for Naomi Scott, it does well. Because again, I think she's a major talent, and she just hasn't had a break yet, even though she's been in some major films that have all flopped for the most part. But I really hope that it does well so that she can go on and that the director maybe does something a little different on the next one. There actually was a scene in here that was actually kind of triggering for me. We find out later that she was in a car accident, whatever, and she pulled the wheel. So basically, she was having a fight with her boyfriend or whatever, and pulled the wheel, which caused them to get into an accident. And that actually happened to me when I wasn't a teenager. I was probably 20 to 21. And I had a girlfriend, and we were actually, during my graduation, we were having a fight. It was more playful. She says, "Oh, let me drive," and she pulled the wheel, and I had a Formula Firebird at the time, and those things don't have any ass. It's just all front. So when she did that, I lost control of the car in the middle of a highway, and I ended up hitting a van, popping off that, and going into a spin. Thankfully, I didn't hit anybody else, and I ended up on the side of the road scraping against the guardrail. And luckily I had my arm outside, and I pulled it in, of course. But I could have lost my arm too. But yeah, and of course she said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll pay for it," blah blah blah. And of course, once I went to actually collect, her father told me to go fuck myself. So, but yeah, so I lost my first car. But I'll tell you what it did do. My car door no longer opened, and I couldn't fix it. So the door was basically sealed shut. And so the only way to get it open was from the other side. Like, I couldn't open it on my side. The door was locked. But if the person went inside, they could open the door. They can lean over and open the door for me. So what it got me doing is now whenever woman, I automatically open the door for them because they would have to lean in and open the door for me. But I've had that. I now do that for my entire life. And I used to get in. I would leave the window open, and I would, Dukes of Hazzard it if nobody was with me, and I would just climb in through the window. So that scene was a little triggering for me because I had a little flashback when that happened, because whenever you're in an accident or whatever else, you kind of get flashes sometimes of something that's kind of a little bit traumatic, and especially that was really my first traumatic incident. But yeah, it was interesting. All right, well, that's it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you watched all the way through, remember to give me that like, give me that thumbs up, and give me that smile. Ring that subscription bell there so you can see all the new stuff I have coming out. I do movie reviews and comic book reviews. And also remember that we have Mythlord's classic monster card game from 1 to 4 players. We're going to be unlocking a 5th player where you can play as your favorite classic monster. Whether it's Wolverine. Yeah, no, great. Whether it's Dracula, the Wolfman, or Frankenstein. We're actually unlocking the Wicked Witch as well. And we have the Bride in here, and Mr. Hyde, and yes, that rhymes, and all that stuff. And it also comes with little figures as well. Like here's the Witch figure. Here's Dracula. We also have Frankenstein and all the rest. So it's really cool shit. Anyway, go to mythlords.net or click the description below for the link to Kickstarter. I'll see you guys on the next one, and have an awesome week.